Hi class, and welcome to week 2, lecture 2. We are moving quite along fast. That is very good. By the way, how was you guys' weekend, or how did last week go? Did you guys enjoy it? Well, this week would be interesting as well. We will be discussing classical and operational condition. The key concept or the objective for this week is to explain the various ways we learn classical conditioning, operant conditioning, and cognitive social learning. Analyze the ways advertisers use conditioning in their attempts to market the products and services. Describe biological processes involved in learning and explain the role of conditioning of the prejudice. This is going to be very, very interesting. This week, the lecture will cover physical aspects of the brain and nervous system. The brain is the center for higher intelligence. Natural endorphins or pain relievers are produced within the brain. We will also look at the nervous system, which controls the body, and the roles of genetics. However, developing from the information processing approach, present cognitive psychology differs from classical psychological approaches in the methods used as well as in the connections of other sciences. Apart from rejecting introspection as a valid method to analyze mental and cognitive psychology, introduces further mainly computer-based techniques which have not been in the range of classical psychology by now. By using brain imaging techniques like MRI, cognitive psychology is able to analyze the relation between the psychology of the brain and mental processes. In the future, cognitive psychology will concentrate on computer-related methods even more than it already has. Hereby, it will profit from improvements in the area of IT. MRI scans nowadays still have lots of possible error sources, which should be involved in the future. Thereby, the technique becomes more powerful and precise. In addition to that, approach can be combined with the classical behavior approach. Which one infers participates mental states from the behavior that will be shown in the course. Cognitive psychology, however, is not using methods developed by other scientists. Of course, it tells which topic related scientists like artificial intelligence, neuropsychologists, or neuroscience, and philosophy of mind as well. The MRI is now invasive imaging method that pictures active structures of the brain in a high resolution. For that, the participant has to lie in a tube and his brain is pictured. While doing a task, active structures in the brain, the participant can be recognized and recorded. However, the word endorphin was coined from endonaxis morphin and refers to the brain natural painkillers. I don't know if you guys ever heard of endorphins, but they call it a natural painkiller. Psychological stress also triggers the production of endorphins. In one study, pain was induced by a shock of the subject's foot. The degree of pain was not determined by measuring the reflex actions of the leg muscles, a test proven reliable in other studies. Instead, the experimentals introduced stress by sounding a warning signal 2 minutes before a shock might or may not be delivered. The subjects were tested under 3 conditions. Some were given an injection of a painkiller, such as morphine. I'm pretty sure everybody heard of morphine as a painkiller, and it really works because I needed that for my tooth. It was hurting really, really, really bad, and I had an abscess, so I really, really needed that, and the dentist gave me that, and yes, it does work. It puts you to sleep sometime, but yes, it works. Morphine does work. A second group was given an injection of naxaline, drug that suppresses endorphin activity in the brain. And a third group was given nothing at all. Initial pain sensitivity was identical in all 3 conditions. Results showed that with repeated stress, pain sensitivity decreased in both the non-injection and the painkiller injections. This suggests that the subjects in the non-injection group had indeed produced endorphins, because men and women who received the endorphin suppressor actually showed more sensitivity to pain and stress as testing proceeded. However, personally, I think deception is okay to use because it's almost ensure accurate results. Cost of using deception in psychological research is the use of deception contributes to the already suspicious nature of the psychology field. Deception in research can lead the research subject into doing or saying something that otherwise could not have agreed to do. The brain, as you guys know, is the most important thing in psychology. That's how psychiatrists and psychologists could tell what is going on in your brain, because they do psychological tests to test your brain. And most of the time, I can say at least 70-75% of the time, that psychologists are conducting, or psychiatrists are conducting giving their clients the right set of tools to test their brain. And benefits of using deception. In memory tests, for example, the subjects are asked to memorize something for only one test, and surprising them with a second test allows the researcher to get an accurate picture of what the subjects can remember without trying. The responses from the subjects are less biased and more pure than if the subject go to the experiment with expectations. I believe some deception is acceptable when the experiments are performed ethically. The deception experiment should only be performed on subjects who volunteer and agree to testing, and not on people who are currently being treated and are already fragile. I think volunteers can reasonably expect some method of deception when they are willingly participating in experience. It is the nature of the word experiment. Just one moment. I had to get a drink of water. You may have heard about how genes determine our individual biological development. A gene is a tiny segment of DNA that contains the coding for a particular protein. We each inherit 23 chromosomes from each parent. I don't know if you guys was aware of that, but we do inherit 23 chromosomes from each parent. And these chromosomes line up to form into 23 pairs from each parent. These pairs contain the alternate genes of the same traits. Sometimes one gene in the pair is dominant and can override the recessive gene in the pair. Consider this example how genes works. Because the brown eyes are dominant, it only takes one gene in the pair to cause the child to have brown eyes. To have blue eyes, the child must carry 2 blue eye genes. Your reading goes to the detail about what you need to be aware of genetics and how its complexities are concerned of the field of psychology. During the week, we looked at the physical aspects of the brain, including the production natural endorphins that act as pain relievers to the body. The various aspects of the nervous system will be discussed. In addition of the genetic was introduced. Classical conditioning is all around you. Prejudice, phobias, advertising influences, etc. How does this work? In the case of advertising, you may note that advertisers will be often paid huge sums of money to athletes and celebrities to advertise products. As public figures, we associate certain positive qualities from them. Does this really work? Consider how much money celebrities get for endorsements these days. A celebrity's knowledge of politics may be debatable, yet politicians have long been appearing on the campaign trail with celebrities as advocates. Operate conditioning is when enforcement refers and punishments are used to teach voluntary behaviors. Students often get confused between classical and operate conditioning. You should remember that in classical conditioning, you are taught without ever actively doing anything. The conditioning takes place involuntarily. In operate conditioning, the process is more voluntary. You make specific choices, and the consequences of those choices lay the groundwork of the learning. It is a powerful tool, and you